In this video, we will learn how to calculate KOFR, which is the risk-free reference rate used in Korea. Calculating KOFR involves a total of 4 steps. 1. Collect transaction data. 2. Verify the data to prevent errors, omissions, or damage to the transaction data. 3. Once verification is complete, transaction data that meet the calculation parameters are selected and finalized as final data used to calculate KOFR. 4. Then, KOFR is calculated using the established calculation methodology. Now, let's take a closer look at each step. The first step is about collecting transaction data. The underlying market of KOFR is the over-the-counter repo market, and as such, data on repo transactions between financial institutions are all subject to collection. Korean Securities Depository collects transaction data from interdealer brokers that broker transactions in the over-the-counter repo market. The collected transaction data includes data essential for calculating KOFR. More specifically, KSD collects the repo interest rate, trade volume, types and quantities of collaterals, start date and redemption date, currency, and more. In the second step, KSD verifies the collected transaction data. Here, for the verification, KSD collects settlement data for repo transactions via a different channel rather than the same channel it used to collect transaction data. KSD carefully and thoroughly verifies transaction data by matching it with the settlement data. With this verification process, KSD prevents errors, omissions, distortions, and possible manipulation of transaction data before it starts calculating the actual KOFR. Once verification is complete, transaction data that satisfy the following 3 conditions are selected for calculation. First, collateral types are government bonds and MSBs. Second, the transaction period is 1 business day only. And finally, the underlying transaction currency is Korean won. KSD uses data that meet the above conditions as the final data for KOFR calculation. In the third step, KSD now calculates KOFR according to the established calculation methodology. First, it sorts the final data in descending order based on the repo rate. Then, KSD starts removing transactions with the highest repo rates and works its way down until the cumulative trade volume of the removed transactions reaches 5% of the total transaction amount. Then, KSD starts removing transactions with the lowest repo rates and works its way up until the cumulative value of the removed transactions reaches 5% of total transactions. The reason for removing these transactions is to improve the stability and reliability of KOFR by removing extreme transactions. Once this process is complete, KSD calculates the weighted average of each transaction amount using the repo rate of the remaining transactions, which yields the final KOFR. Here, the rate is rounded off at the 4th decimal place, and the final KOFR is presented down to the 3rd decimal place. As a risk-free reference rate in Korea, calculated based on carefully selected data, KOFR can help improve the reliability and transparency of domestic financial transactions. For more information, please check the KOFR website at www.kofr.kr.